Okay, welcome in. We are back for a new makeup releases try on. I have the new Sigma Alice in Wonderland palette. I do have the new Haus Labs Triclone foundation. I have the new Milk Makeup Concealer. And then I have the new Tower 28 mascara and a couple of other items that I just picked up that aren't necessarily like new to the market, but I wanted to give them a shot. So that's what we're in for today. Okay, so I just put my hair back. I have primed my eyes, I have set them, and I have done my eyebrows. So I thought we would do, whoa. Look at that. I thought we would start with the palette first because this is a pretty vibrant palette and I think I want to do a pretty colorful look, and so I don't know if there's going to be any fallout, but just in case, I thought we could do the foundation second. So that was the carton. Here is the box. It is very, very cool. Oh, okay. I could just keep watching it in the viewfinder for days. It even has like the iridescentness on the actual thing on the inside. So that is the inside. And then here is the palette. Even the brush they made to like match the palette, which I've never seen before. So here is the dual-ended brush that comes in the Sigma palettes. So I thought we would do is swatch the palette, look at some of the shades side by side, see what kind of look I want to create, because I really just don't know. I think I probably want to dip into some of these blues, like they are just calling my name. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the blues. Like, I don't know how I'm not gonna be able to create a look with the blues, because it's a pretty like pinky neutral palette on this side, and really your most unique shades over here are all these like different blues. You have three different pretty metallic shimmers, and then this one's like a satin shimmer, and I can't tell if it's like a dark blue or like a black, but these two look amazing and they look like they would be paired really well together. And honestly, I think this is a pretty unique shade. I honestly don't think I have anything that like turquoise in my collection. So let's swatch this and then we will decide what kind of eye look we want to do. There is the palette swatched. These blues weren't the greatest, but these over here that I want to play with swatched so well. And these ones are just, were swatched so nicely. Honestly, this is a pretty good color story for like even using in fall. Okay, I pretty much have decided the look that I'm going to go for. So I'm going to take this turquoise shade and use it as like a transition shade. I am going to use the Sigma brush for this. So I'm just going to put it like everywhere and then deepen the outer corner. And I think I'll probably deepen it with like two different shades. I'll probably do it with that like turquoise shade and then deepen it with that darker like blue shimmer shade. It has a good amount of pigment to it and it's blending nicely. Sometimes these blues can be pretty patchy. This almost looks like green on my skin tone. I don't know what it is about these blues lately that have been drawing me in, but they really have. Okay, so I'm going to go into this shade right here, and I'm going to go in the outer corner, but I'm going to go a little bit into my crease. So sorry if you hear the thunderstorm. It's at least once a day around here. So these shadows are like really performing nicely. I'm just creating a crazy look, but who cares? All right, so the darker shimmer shade that I was referring to is this one right here. And I think we'll take this and just deepen the outer corner, like the whole thing. And I'm gonna do it on a dry brush and see how it works. All right, you gotta trust the process on this one because I'm making a bit of a mess. But you know the worst thing about like having hooded and downturned eyes is that like my hoods aren't even on both sides. Like this one goes down more than this one. Any of you experience that, or is it just me? Okay, I think we're gonna deepen up the outer corner even more, and we're gonna take this like really, really dark blue shimmer. I wasn't sure if it was like a black or a blue, but it is definitely a blue after I swatched it. And I think I'm gonna try and just like run it along my lash line. Okay, so this green right here, like honestly, I don't think I can not use it. It was so beautiful when I swatched it. Let me see if I can swatch it again. That I feel like we need to get this on the eyes. I don't know, it's hard. Or should I do this one? No, see, I think we definitely need to do the green. I don't know how that's gonna look, but we'll do the green in the center of the eye, and then we'll do this whiter shade like in the inner part of the lid. I think that's what we have to do, because this green is literally just, it's so stunning, so beautiful. It looks wet. I have the smallest lids ever, so using it may not even show up that much, but I wanna try. So I'm just gonna use my finger and I'm gonna put it on like the center part of my lid and drag it out just a little bit. Honestly, there's just almost no fallout with this. Like, I've made a little bit of a mess with the blue shade that we'll clean up, but in terms of fallout, there's just almost none. I don't have issues, too many issues with fallout with the Sigma shadows. Oh my god, I'm telling you, this green shimmer is amazing. I don't have any other shimmer like this in my collection. I have green shimmer, sure, but there's just something about this shimmer, I can't even describe it. It's just, oof. Oof. Like, I need to do a dedicated look to this. All right, moving on. So I'm gonna take this really white, I don't know if it's like silver or if it's like a white metallic, and put that in the inner part of my lid. Let's just swatch it again. Yeah, it's a little bit, it has a little bit of like a blue undertone, a blue shift to it. So it should look pretty good. I'm gonna make a mess, I know, but we will clean it up. I love using my fingers for a lot of shimmer shades. I mean, who doesn't? But honestly, my fingers are too big for this process. Like, I can't not get it everywhere. Let's move on into the foundation. So here is the box that it came in. I did not pick up the powder. I don't try a lot of new powders. I'm really hesitant to try powders because I have such dry skin. But then I've seen a lot of people have like really good success with this powder. That the foundation and the powder pair well together, which you would imagine, but that the powder is really light and has worked well for people with dry skin. So I guess I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't pick up the powder, but that's okay. Here is the carton, and it has the like Haus Labs embossment on it, if you can see. I'm hoping this is a good shade. This looks really, really dark, but it is in the shade 110 Light Neutral. So let's read some of this. It says, Haus Tech powered with BioFerment 7 Complex, Intellizin 7 Complex, a clean, cutting-edge longwear foundation that delivers superior makeup performance without compromising your skin. Infused with 20+ skincare ingredients, buildable medium coverage, luminous second skin finish, ultra fluid, weightless formula. It says shake well, blend onto clean moisturized skin with the Haus Labs foundation brush, of course. Clinically tested, non-comedogenic, dermatologist tested, ophthalmologist tested, fragrance free. It is made in Korea and has a 12-month shelf life. So I've seen a ton of people comment on like how fancy this bottle is. It is glass. It's just so heavy and weighted. And then there is the cap. It does come with a pump on it, and it is your standard 1 fluid ounce. So it says to shake well before use. Let's test it. I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand and we'll see the consistency. And then I'm just gonna go in with a sponge. This looks straight orange in person. So it's a pretty runny formula, but this looks way too dark on me. Light neutral? Like, this is neutral? I don't believe it. So a lot of different like undertones to the foundation, which is really nice. But upon first application, I'm putting it in the back of my hand, it's really orange, like even here on my finger. So I'm really hoping that this works. Going in on half the face, and I'm just gonna use the sponge, like I said, and we will see. I might have to just, you know, do my whole neck, who knows? It's so different a color. I can just like see whoop, like straight down my chin where I did half my face. I don't actually think it looks that bad. I'm probably gonna take like a little bit down just to kind of blend it in a little bit better. It's so hard to see with like all these lights on, like how yellow it may actually look in person, but here it doesn't look bad. Yeah, it's definitely too dark a shade. Like you can even see the contrast like on my neck. And that's kind of unusual for me. Light with neutral often works very well. I mean, I can usually jump back and forth, and I've said this before, between like light with neutral undertones and like fair with neutral undertones. This is orange. Like this is, it's hard to see because I have all the lights going, but this is like a really orange color. All right, well, so I'll just blend it all the way down my neck. But okay, noted, light with neutral undertone is really a little bit too dark for me. And I feel like it's having a difficult time kind of sitting across my texture. I don't think it's blurring my skin in any way. In fact, it's like kind of emphasizing some of my like fine lines and wrinkles a little bit. I mean, it's not terrible, and I love the way it feels. It just feels really lightweight and hydrating. You know, some foundations you put on and you're like, damn, that's heavy, but this really feels good. I just don't know like how I love that it's kind of emphasizing the fact that I like look old. So that's like it close up. Has pretty good coverage. I love how red I am on this side, and then it's like, boop, where'd it go? Bye. Doop. That's real, folks. That's what we look like. I mean, honestly, I love how hydrating it actually feels on my skin. It's really just that it's kind of like making me feel like I can see my texture more. And I'm not trying to hate, because I want to love this, and I pretty much love everything else that I've tried from her. So maybe that's where the powder comes in. Maybe that's why the powder is so good, is because it just really blurs everything out. Like you get a really hydrating foundation with 20 skincare ingredients, and then the powder is just supposed to smooth everything out. I don't know, maybe we're picking up the powder in the future. It's not going to be a huge surprise. I'm going to have to blend it all the way down my neck again. I mean, it is not forgiving, like in the shade department, because it's a pretty true medium coverage. Some foundations say that they are like medium, but they're medium buildable, right? They start out light, and so you can get them there, but they have a little bit more flexibility in the shade, whereas I don't see this one having that. I don't know necessarily if it's going to oxidize. It's hard to tell, and I didn't leave it on the back of my hand. I'm just kind of picking everything up, but it is pretty dark for a light with neutral undertones. And I would say like it has kind of an orange base to it. So down the neck she goes. All right, so that is it applied to both sides. You can see the radiant finish, which I really like. I'm loving that we're all doing radiant finish foundations these days. They're just so nice, that skincare ingredients. But it's a true medium coverage. I will give it that straight off the bat. It's a true medium coverage. Like I said, the only thing I don't absolutely love so far is that it's seeming to like emphasize a lot of my texture. Okay, so another one that I probably got in too dark a shade, because apparently I don't know how to buy stuff online. We're gonna go into the Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer. So this one I got in 7NW. So right away when I pulled this out of the box, I was like, if that is indicative of how dark this is gonna be, I'm in trouble, because I don't know how to shade match myself online. But I did take it out and I did swatch it as a little dark. But since this foundation's a little bit dark, maybe that'll work. So this is the Future Fluid All Over Cream Concealer. Medium to full coverage concealer. It says 92% natural. It does have a 12-month shelf life, and it was made in the US. So this little chubby dude here, right, here's the packaging on this. It's a print magnet, and it's this little stubby doe foot applicator. Like, I'm not here to test the color as much as I am the consistency. So I'm gonna put it on one side. I'm gonna try and be a little bit careful. And I'm just gonna spot conceal 2 little spots. And we'll bounce this in and see how it looks. Okay. Wow. What's up with everyone saying medium coverage, and it's perfect medium coverage right away. So I think the medium coverage theme is like really on point tonight. I'm looking at this and I applied just a little bit, and at first I thought it was going to be a pretty stiff formula, and I was like, oh god, it's not like blending out right away. But it did, and it looks really good. But it seems like it has a little bit of a radiance to it. It's just a really true medium coverage. No building, like did its job, covered really well, looks really good. Don't even mind the shade. I'm gonna go in on this side, and a little bit is all you need. Love it. Boop. I will say, I haven't been like the biggest fan of Milk Makeup concealers. I think I've had the Flex concealer, and then I currently have like the Rollerball one, which is kind of like an under eye brightener is what I think it calls itself. And neither of them was I blown away with. I think the Flex concealer I ended up decluttering because it just wasn't like a standout product in my collection. And then the Rollerball one, the bright eye under eye concealer, like I've kept it, but again, it's not like a standout product in my collections. I was definitely excited to try this. It's just not that I've like, you know, fallen in love with Milk Makeup concealers in the past. So I really wasn't sure what to expect with this, but when you first apply it, it almost seems a little bit stiff. Almost seems like the dry down time is like really fast and that you're gonna have a hard time like blending it in. But then once you really start picking up the pace and blending it in, it does so nicely. And it's honestly very seamless. I think it's not a bad shade because I have a pretty dark foundation, but it's like an excellent medium coverage concealer. So we'll have to see how it wears and whether or not it creases, because that's it. The rest of the application process, super happy with. So I also do have a Ciate London powder bronzer, and this might be too dark a shade. I'm not sure what shade this is in. It's in South Beach. I just don't know like what that is in the scale of the toned bronzers that they had. Here's the packaging, super reflective. And hopefully this is not like too dark, but we'll try to go in with a pretty light hand. I don't know if you can see, it's like stars in the embossment. So it's really pretty. It's just a powder bronzer. So I wanted to try this. Ciate London products have been like catching my attention lately. And for the most part, like their dewy line just grossed me out. Like I tried some of it and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I just don't like the consistency of it because it was very sheer and very sticky. Ooh, this bronzer is not going to work for me. I can just tell you that right now. There is the swatch right there. So maybe if we go with a super light hand, it's just that this shade is not going to like work for me permanently. It's not something I should keep. Yeah, I can just tell you right now. This is not so good for me. We're gonna light hand it and then just try and blend it out. And we'll see how blendable it is. But yeah, it's gonna have to be really light because this is not a good shade. I don't think it was bad. It's just that I am barely tapping my brush into it. It's pretty with the lightest hand. Like I thought it was very blendable. It wasn't patchy. It actually was like, you know, shearing out quite nicely for like a darker bronzer. I mean, I was able to make it work as opposed to being just like pow, pigmentation, and then you really can't do much about it because it's too dark a shade. It actually worked. So you know what I just realized? A lot of times blues irritate my eyes, and it irritates my eyes like right away. But I'm not finding that with this, and I love it. I love that. Okay, so I do have an On The Glow blush and illuminator from Wander Beauty. This is in the shade Coral Rose. I have no idea if it'll go with this eye look, but I have seen these and I did want to try them. I love it when I start pairing products together and then I do like this massive blue eye look and I'm like, am I gonna do that blush with that? And then I'm like, am I gonna do that lip product with that? And I'm like, yeah, probably. So I don't care. All right, let's swatch this blush. Whoo. All right, that's the shade. So hopefully we can shear this out a little bit. So I'm actually not gonna apply it straight to my face. I'm just gonna go in with like a clean sponge, put it on the back of the sponge and bounce it out. This is a nice formula. Already I can tell. Like it was easy to pick up. It's really creamy. It's not too sheer. It's got a good amount of pigmentation. It's not great for this eye look, but I think we'll powder over it and it'll be just fine. I just want to test it. So, you know, sometimes I don't have the right shades. And that happens sometimes. I really just don't care. Like, you want to play with your makeup? You want to look like a clown? That's your business. Do you. That's what I say. I have not tried any of their face products before, so this is my first time trying it. And I just love that everyone is coming out with like cream blush and cream bronzer lately, so I'm like trying all these brands that I've never tried before because they are coming out with these products, and I'm so into cream blush and cream bronzer right now. I'm like finding a love for a lot of new brands that I didn't before because of the cream blush and cream bronzer. Okay, I can already tell you that I love this. Depending upon how long it stays, I'm gonna say this radiant finish that this blush has is just so beautiful. Can you see that? It's gorgeous. And it almost like, look at that. That is so pretty. Dang. And it was easy to apply, super easy to apply. Very emollient, good pigmentation. Holy smokes, I really like this. That's actually a very pretty swatch on the highlighter. Like, I was expecting it to be a little bit too dark when I'm like kind of looking at it, but it's very, very nice. So I'm gonna pick it up on this part of my sponge and like stamp it on. I think that'll be good. Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely carrying this a little bit low, but I love the application on this. I really like how easy this is to apply and how it feels. There's the highlighter on that side. And it's not like emphasizing any of my texture. It's very pretty. Okay. Okay, Wonder Beauty. I love when it doesn't emphasize my texture. You know, the Charlotte Tilbury just literally makes all the texture right here on my cheekbones just pop like to the sky. So I don't love that. But look at that. And I brought it down to like the blush. Dare I say that's just gorgeous from Wonder Beauty? Okay, I'm digging it. This is not a new product by any means, but this is really good. I'm really glad that I tried this. I wasn't sure. I've seen it like, you know, 1,000 million gazillion times and wanted to pick it up and thought about it, but I was like, nah, forget it. But it's just gorgeous. It's very beautiful. I'm gonna just set my face, including the cream blush, all that good stuff, when we'll come back and we'll try the new mascara. Okay, I've just set my face, and even though we did like the bronzer, the blush, the highlighter, and we let the concealer sit, it didn't crease yet. So that's a good sign. I don't think it's going to. I feel like it was such a hydrating formula that it doesn't feel like it's gonna crease. I mean, I could be totally wrong. We'll have to see on that, but it doesn't give me that indication that it will. So we definitely need to go and finish the lower lash line. I'm gonna take this matte and do like the outer portion of my lower lash line. This color is so pigmented and like gorgeous and beautiful. I'm gonna take this light blue shimmer that we took here in this like inner corner and do the inner part of the lower lash line. I think that's just what I want to do. And then I'll also like bring it in my inner corner as well. Is that the look? I think that's the look. Okay, so I don't know much about this. This is the MakeWaves Tower 28 mascara. It says how to use. Use the inner wave of the dual-sided brush to build up volume and the longer bristles to lengthen and define lashes. Okay. It has a 6-month shelf life. It is vegan and cruelty-free, ophthalmologist tested, contact lens safe, allergy tested, non-toxic. I have seen this applied to someone with pretty long lashes, but we'll see how it works on me. This is the wand. It's kind of a boring wand, and it's not a super wet formula. Like, I'll let you hear it. Well, that time it was a little bit more than normal, but it kind of like, you don't get a whole lot of product that comes off. It reminds me of the Lancome Tint Idole mascara. That wand, that's that very plastic wand where not a lot of product seems to come off, but you get pretty good like definition and length. All right, so let's go in with the right side and see how this does. I think these wands are pretty good for getting like pretty close to your lash line. I love when they're thinner like this because some of those really chunky ones, I'm not stabbing myself in the eyeball. And that happens. Like I get so, you can't get really close with those big fat wands. And so like when you try to, it just kind of makes a mess. Holy cow. Like I've barely even started. With those big fat wands, you try and get close and then you do and you stab yourself and it's a nightmare. So I love when they're small wands. I just get skeptical that they're not going to deposit a whole lot of product. Holy sh. Okay, so that's one coat. Like, do I even need a second coat? Wow. I can't stop staring at myself in the viewfinder. Like, it's crazy. But it's really pigmented right off the bat. But that's one coat. Like, good volume, good length, not clumpy. Sometimes you think you know makeup and you can make an assumption about the way something looks, and then like you're surprised by a product. That's how I feel about this mascara. You're like, how did they do it? Because that's not what I would expect from this. Just an update, I'm not getting any irritation even since I did like my lower lash line with the blue shades, because blue shades tend to, well, a lot of different shades can irritate my eyes, but blues especially. I don't know, some people it's reds, some people it's pinks or purples. For me, it's blue. And like the BH Cosmetics, as beautiful as those blue shadows are, they really irritate my eyes. I will start like touching and I can't stop touching, but I'm not getting anything with these Sigma shadows. I'm really shocked by this mascara. I can already give you like a high recommendation. Even though my lashes are pretty long, they don't really touch like the upper part of my eye. And the only time I get transfer is like when it's really hot out and I'm sweating. Sometimes a little transfer like below if I look down too much, but that's not usually an issue with me. I don't get a whole lot of flaking either. I really just want something that's super pigmented and like lasts a long time. It doesn't transfer on application, not necessarily wear. But this wand is beautiful. It's super pigmented, not overly wet a formula. It's just doing something. Like I can't even explain it. Just give it to me. Give it to me, Tower 28. Just give it. But it's not clumpy. I love it. It gave really good like definition and separation of each of the lashes. It gave a lot of volume and a really good amount of length. I love this. And one thing that I can say about this mascara, like right now, is that you know sometimes you wear mascaras and you love them for the upper lashes, but you hate them for the lower lashes. And so it kind of ruins the experience. And who wants to use two separate mascaras for upper and lower? But I like this equally for both. I think it's beautiful. All right, so the very last thing that I got, I had to get it, was the PhD Hybrid Lip Oil from Haus Labs. This is a pinky shade, and I want to swatch it and see how pigmented it is, but I think it's pretty safe to kind of just apply to my lips for like a sheer wash of color. I don't think it has a lot of pigmentation to it, so I think I can get away with using it. Yeah, it does. Here's the swatch right there. So it's just a very sheer formula. So I'm just gonna hut this on because it has the most amazing reviews. Everybody talks about it. I've had it in my loves list for a while and never picked it up. So when I got the foundation, I finally picked it up. So it has a little bit of a tint to it, not too much. I think it's pretty. Okay, so I've talked pretty good length on each of the products as I was kind of applying them. So I don't think I need to go into too much more detail about everything. I think I'll just do kind of like a quick final wrap up. I mean, really, like the foundation, it feels a little bit heavier now that I'm wearing it a little bit longer. And sometimes that happens with foundations, but I don't see it settling in anywhere. And I can tell you it's just a really true medium coverage upon application. And I did pick up a shade that's a little bit too dark, but I think I can get away with it. I brought it down to my neck and I think it blended in pretty nicely, and it has a really radiant finish, so it feels very hydrating. So I'm liking the preliminary feeling of this foundation. There's no separating on my nose, which I get a lot of because I don't exfoliate probably as much as I should, but I think it looks really good close up and I like that. The concealer definitely has a radiant finish. And again, it's another true to medium coverage and I don't think it's gonna crease. I think it'll do really nice. If I can like look into the future, if I have my crystal ball, I would say this will probably be my favorite Milk makeup concealer so far. And the eyeshadow palette, I'm not getting any irritation with the blues. I've said that twice and I would by now because I applied it to my lower lash line and that's usually like, boom, if it's gonna irritate me, it would have done it by the time I applied the lower lash line. So I can tell you that if you have sensitive eyes, this is probably a good formula. So this is a pretty good, like well curated palette, if I do say so myself. Like you could get a really neutral look out of this top row, a pinky look out of this bottom one, an entirely like blue look over here. I'm a huge fan of this palette and I'm so glad I picked it up because I don't usually pick up a lot of Sigma's new launches, but I saw this one and I thought that color story I can get on board with, so I picked it up. You know the bronzer I said was too dark for me, but I liked the formula, so I'm not going to discount Ciate London's products just yet. This Wander Beauty shocked me. I said that as I was applying it. Super, super easy to apply. Nice and radiant finish. Went on like a dream. I'm already thinking that I'm going to love it. So, sorry Wander Beauty I didn't try you sooner. That's all I can say about that. The mascara. If the mascara does not end up doing some weird thing throughout the day, the initial application I thought was great. Just great. I think it's a fantastic mascara. Thumbs up for me. Good job, Tower 28. The lip oil, I don't know. It was a little bit sticky when I first put it on, but it's the first time I've ever used it or opened the bottle, so maybe that could be it. But right now it feels fantastic, so we'll see how long it stays. Here's what I'm gonna say at the end of this video. I highly recommend, besides the bronzer, even though that felt really good if you can get a shade that you like, I highly recommend every single product I tried. I would say if you bought any one of these, you'd be super happy. And you probably need this mascara in your life. So run out, get that. Enjoy the mascara once you pick it up. And I'm out. See you in my next one. Bye.